Hey friends, Happy New Year. I have a New Year's story for you today. It is a poem that I would like to dedicate to 2021. And it's a little bit of nonsense, because doesn't that seem reflective of this first precious week of this turning of the Gregorian calendar? So it's from Edward Lear. This is a compilation of complete verse and other nonsense. That's a more contemporary publication, of course, but Edward Lear was a 19th century Englishman who is a wonderful weirdo. Feel free to look him up. He had a very interesting life. He traveled extensively. He was an illustrator as well as a writer. He's very equally famous for being basically one of the founders of the form of literary nonsense, as he is renowned for being an ornithological draftsman. So that gives you some indication of how interesting this character was. And someone who had who dealt with a great deal of suffering in his life, who lived with chronic illness since childhood, and as you'll see, also had a great, enormous, vast capacity for humor. And so I actually wanted to read a quote from the intro in this book, a quote by Edward Lear, which says, "Nonsense is the breath of my nostrils," he wrote. "It is a philosophy as much as a genre." For him it was a response to, quote, "this ludicrously whirligig life from which one suffers first and laughs at afterwards." And so I present to you the Jumblies. One beautiful image by Lear. The Jumblies by Edward Lear. They went to sea in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they went to sea. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round and everyone cried, "You'll all be drowned," they called out, "Our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button. We don't care a fig. In a sieve we'll go to sea." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed away in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea-green veil tied with a riband by way of a sail to a small tobacco pipe mast. And everyone said who saw them go, "Oh, won't they be soon upset, you know? For the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what may, it's extremely wrong in a sieve to sail so fast." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water it soon came in, it did, the water it soon came in. So to keep them dry, they wrapped their feet in a pinky paper all folded neat, and they fastened it down with a pin. And they passed the night in a crockery jar, and each of them said, "How wise we are! Though the sky be dark and the voyage be long, yet we never can think we were rash or wrong, while round in our sieve we spin." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. And all night long they sailed away, and when the sun went down, they whistled and warbled a moony song to the echoing sound of a coppery gong in the shade of the mountains brown. Oh, Timballo, how happy we are when we live in a sieve and a crockery jar, and all night long in the moonlight pale we sail away with a pea-green sail in the shade of the mountains brown. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed to the western sea, they did, to a land all covered with trees, and they bought an owl and a useful cart, and a pound of rice, and a cranberry tart, and a hive of silvery bees. And they bought a pig, and some green jackdaws, and a lovely monkey with lollipop paws, and 40 bottles of ringbo-ree, and no end of Stilton cheese. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. And in 20 years they all came back, in 20 years or more, and everyone said, how tall they've grown, for they've been to the lakes and the Torrible Zone and the hills of the Chankly Bore. And they drank their health, and gave them a feast of dumplings made of beautiful yeast, and everyone said, if we only live, we too will go to sea in a sieve, to the hills of the Chankly Bore. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve.